Hey, Forex and Crypto Legends, Peter with you once again, and welcome to another episode of Wavematics Weekly Forecast for July 19th to 23rd. Jump quickly into the comment section and let me know where you are watching us from. And at the end of the analysis, if you have any additional pairs I should cover or look at in the course of the week, let me know in the comment section. Let's jump straight into the charts. We'll be starting with the dollar index. If you've been following me for some time, or this is the first time that you are watching me, I use more of Elliott waves and other methodologies, and it is very effective. If you look at our charts and how clean and simple these things is, it is something you really have to have a look into, because week after week I've been seeing a whole lot of profitable trades, and members of this wonderful community can also attest to it, that this thing is becoming simpler. If you are finding difficult, find time and watch our Wavematics labeling bootcamp, where I do digest how I do my trade counts and the assignments people also do, because that is really going to help you. So now let's jump straight into the dollar index. With the dollar index, this is what I'm looking at. This is on the 4-hour time frame. So I'm having an impulsive wave of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down for yellow wave A, and now I'm looking at a wave a correction, but the correction wave I'm looking at, I'm seeing an impulsive wave, and that is definitely going to be a wave A. So now I'm seeing a 1, 2, 3, and the wave 4 is developing into a kind of triangle. Then we are looking for a wave 5. So let's jump straight into the lower time frames and look at how we are going to really approach it this particular week. On the 1-hour time frame, this is the pattern that I'm looking at. I'm looking at an A, B, C, D, E for a wave. I'm looking down, then I'm more of a certainty like price is going to give us a move up and a 5 wave for wave A. Then we are going to expect a move down for wave B. So now that we've seen what we are expecting from the dollar index, let's go to the majors and gold and see how we are going to use this knowledge also to trade that once. Now with gold, I'm going to quickly go through 3 scenarios I'm looking at and how you can trade each of them profitably, should in case any of them present it out. That is an art of an expert, technical analyst. You wait for the market to come to you, give you confluences, then you get in. That is why I always want give you step by step how I look at the charts and the possible scenarios. So before even we go straight into the scenarios, let me know in the comment section. You see, should I spend more time analyzing the higher time frames, or I should be doing just what I'm doing and cover more lower time frames, so that we can cover more charts, and at the end of the week when I'm posting the analysis, I can now post the higher time frames. Let me know which of them you prefer, that either you prefer the higher time frames to be covered and we look at a few charts, or we look at more charts in the lower time frame. So let me know, and so that I can really deliver what you want, because I'm really pumped to always over deliver. So with gold, now we are looking at these 3 scenarios. The first one, and this is now my primary count, is this particular count, and now I'm seeing this. I'm looking at a whole wave B now for this particular count, and I'm seeing a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we've had this sharp drop down. So should in case we get a corrective move like this, then I'm certain that price is going to come low, because I will not just sell because we've broken out of the trend line. As it stands now, price is still at the edge of the trend line. I'm not going to just sell because price broke out of this particular channel. Even if it break out, I'll look for the corrective move. Once I get a corrective move, that is where I'm certain that okay, then we are going to sell within and get to this particular fib zone of 50 to 61.8%. Then we will start looking for reversal signs for green wave C. That is the first scenario. The other scenario I'm also looking at, you see, I posted this particular count of this side being a triangle. If you remember, in the course of the week, I really posted this count. So with this triangle move, this was what I was expecting, but later I readjusted my count. I readjusted my account that, okay, what if this whole thing is rather a wave A at this side. So we have a wave A, we can have a wave A at this side, then this side be a wave B. So now the whole triangle that we initially drew, let me connect my dots again. Good. So now with this particular triangle, now there is a possibility that, okay, this can be a wave A and the triangle will be a wave B. So now this is a wave 1, and now we are having a wave 2. So there is a possibility if we get a move up and a correction, then price can now develop into a 5 wave to give us this wave C. So you have to also watch this particular scenario that there is a possibility price can go higher. So if you get any impulsive move up followed by a correction, if you get a move up followed by a correction, so if you get something like this followed by a correction, then know that this particular this side might be your A, and now we have the triangle for B. Then we will be going up for the wave C. So let's quickly look at the last scenario. In the course of the week, when more price action is developed, I'm going to give you what is really happening, but for analysis purposes, let's look at these scenarios. So the last scenario we are going to look at is with the last scenario, you know, this we've been looking at this count some weeks back, but I've not really abandoned the chart, but I'm looking at it. So there is a possibility, you know, the first one that we did analyze, I did say that if we get a breakout, a corrective move, and another move into the fib zone, then we are going to look at it. But should in case we break through this fib zone, there's a possibility of this whole structure being an expanding flat of an ABC for wave 4, because we've now still be in the invalidation level. So with that one, once we break through the first scenario's fib zone and come really down and get a corrective move, then we will get to know that, okay, it is this particular count giving us an impulsive move for green wave 5. So you have to really watch this particular count as more price action. If you get a sell setup for the first scenario, or even with this scenario, once it gets to the 50 to 61.8% fib zone, then you start managing your trade. You either get out of the trade or you manage it keenly, knowing that these two possible scenarios can play out. Let's jump straight to our next chart. The next pair that we'll be looking at will be the USD yen. With the USD Japanese yen, if we look at our Telegram channel, on July 13th, I posted this. We should start looking for sell setup within this particular fib zone. Once we get any move up, down, a sharp move down, we should start looking for a sell setup. And this is what happened. So now let's discuss how I came about my take profit zones. I'm going to make this trade here. When I updated the charts in the Facebook group and in the Telegram channel, price was at this level. And now it was at this level. So I was expecting a pullback. And when the pullback was coming, you know, most people, when they are in trades and we start getting pullbacks, they start panicking. If that thing really do happen to you, let me know in the comment section, that when you enter trades and it's going in your favor and it starts reversing, or it start going against you, if you do panic, let me know. The reason why people panic is this. You see, when you don't know what the overall structure of the market is doing, then you don't really know how to manage your trade. So with this, I'm not going to panic or anything, because I know once this is a sharp move up, there should be a correction. Before, should in case we are going to go down, the market doesn't move in straight lines. So if there's going to be a correction, another move up, there should be a pullback for a correction. So now let's jump straight into how I came about this particular TP1. You know, I'm the type of trader, I go for swing trades that really pays a lot of pips, and I don't jump in and out of the market a lot of time. But when I get this particular trade I'm looking at, is 8:1 risk to reward ratio. So now this is my TP1, but I'm going to manage the trade. Does not mean once you put in a very huge risk to reward like this, then you leave the trade to run. My TP1 is as a result of when I enter in trade. I look at all the possible scenario of patterns that can form. It has not formed yet, but I look at it. So I'm looking at, should in case there is a possibility we can get a running flat like this for price to go up. So once we are coming down, I'm going to manage my trade carefully or get out of the market before we get to this zone. And the reason why that particular zone is more interesting to me is if you look at this one, there is a possibility of a running flat being a WX. So if that is the case, then if it is a Y wave, then it might be an A, B, and the relationship between the wave A and C, which most times is 100% fib level of equality. So this is my 100% fib level, that is the pink line. Then I'm also looking at 108.363, that is the previous wave 4 support. And you know, most times price find support and resistance level at the previous wave 4. So this particular zone now become a very interesting zone for me. So it should, in case price should turn from that zone, then that means it is a running flat that is happening. If we break through that, my next zone is 161.8% and a 50% fib zone of wave A. So that is how I'm managing, and I'm going to get out of them. I'm not going to wait to get from this zone. I'm okay with the 80:1 risk to reward. So let's jump straight into the lower time frame and look at how we are going to trade it this particular week. So now on the 1 hour time frame, what I'm expecting is, before I'll add up to this particular trade, because there's a possibility of still price going up. And don't forget that wave 2 can be a bigger like an A, B, C, to give you a zigzag for wave 2. So that scenario is also there. So I'm watching it closely. But this particular week, if I get any move like this followed by a corrective, add up to this particular trade, because it's telling me that we are going to really go down. So that is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting it to be an impulsive move and a correction. So once I get the correction, I'm going to look for sell setups. So as simple as that. I've made you know the possible scenarios and all the other things so that you can manage the trades, those who enter the trades from me. And if you are yet to enter, watch this particular zone, that if we get this corrective move and a correction, you can now start looking for sell setup. So this level will be your confirmation level. Once we break the low, then you are very certain that price is going to go down. Our next pair is the pound Japanese yen. This particular pair I did last week, we did analyze. We were at this particular zone last week. I think last week we were here, where I did mention that we are going to get a test of this particular trend line to this level and have a correction. We did have that. So when the price was at really this level, I made a post on it for you to know that price is going to come up. Let me jump straight into our Telegram channel. On July 14th. On July 14th, I did posted this, that we should look at this charts, because there is an impending down move. So if you get any sell setup, you should sell and take your profit between this 50 to 61.8 zone. And let's jump straight to this particular week and see what. So we did have a retest. Of the triangle. So that was I trade, and that this was my entry. So if we should break the top, I'm out of the trade, because now it's going to give me this bullish confirmation that we are going straight up. So I did have it here. Then because it was a corrective move of an ABC, I was okay with a 3:1 risk to reward. If you trade like this, you cannot be profitable at the end of the month, because all the risks to reward, you see, the first one I shared with you, I'm taking 8:1. This I'm looking at 3:1. Then price just went right as I did said. Then now we are into this zone out before even the 50% fib zone is. Once price is in this zone, now I'm looking at the 61.8 to the 78.6 fib zone. So if we don't get any reversal sign from this particular zone, because if we are looking at a wave 2 for green wave 2, but don't forget price can still come and break this low before going up. So when it happens like that, then your labeling is going to be a WXY. X, this side is going to be an X, then you have your Z for wave 4. So now this particular week you get anything like price, you don't get a reversal, any reversal sign, then you start getting a corrective move like this, then it's telling you that price is going to come down. So now look at the two scenarios. I'm looking at a week ending wave 2, but there's a possibility of a wave Z for blue wave 4. So once I get a corrective move like this, I'm going to sell. If I get an impulsive move up and a correction, then I'll start looking for buy setup. When we get to the trend line resistance, I'm going to look at, if we get a breakout, good for me, and look for another correction and buy more into this particular pair. Our next pair we are looking at is the Aussie dollar. With the Aussie dollar, last week we were at this particular zone. Those who watched last week video, you see I had my wave 5 here with a question mark on it, that I'm not very certain if this is our wave 5. So if we get an impulsive move and a correction, so now this is what is happening now. We did not get the correction that we wanted for price to go up. So I'm seeing a possible ending diagonal forming for this wave 5. We now have a wave 1, wave 2. So I'm expecting price to give us a wave 4, a wave 5, then we will start going up this way. And if you look at this particular formation that is forming, this particular channel, you can see there is a lot of divergence in place. Since the low of this particular side, you can see that the MACD is indicating a whole lot of divergence, indicating that the sellers are losing their momentum. So you should watch out for a possible buy setups. So I'm not interested in the sell setups because of the divergence that is in play. But if we get this particular one, then if we get it like this, my confirmation level will be at the end of this wave 4, white wave 4 for this particular one. So this is what I'm looking at for Aussie dollar. Our next pair is the dollar Swiss. With the dollar Swiss, I'm looking at two particular scenarios from this pattern that is forming. In my first scenario, I'm looking at diagonal for this, an expanding leading diagonal. So this being a corrective move for wave B. So we're getting a zigzag. Then we will have this particular move for sell setup for wave 2. Then a possible move up. So diagonal. Then this particular move down. Then we start looking for sell setup. So if you are trading this, if you start getting correction like this, then start looking for wave B, then you come down. Oh, sorry, wave B, then you come down for you start looking for wave B. Then once it gets into this particular fib zone, you start looking for buy setups. The other scenario too will be this whole thing can be a WXY. So if that is the case, then this is an expanding flat that we are looking at, something like this, an expanding flat like this. So if that is for the X, then that means with this particular scenario we are looking for a down move. So if you get a sharp move down and a correction like this, then this is the scenario you have to be trading. Then you can start selling for this particular wave Y. So once it gets to this fib zone, you start your buy setup. So once if it's going to be this one in play, then there's going to be a wave Y, which is an ABC, not a 1 2 3 4 5. So a wave Y is going to be an ABC. So whichever scenario that presents itself, get to know how you are going to trade it profitably this week. In USD card, I'm seeing this particular pattern to be an expanding ending diagonal for wave 5. So if that is the case, then now with this particular wave we're seeing a 1 2 3 4 5. So this is my fib zone, which I'm really tracking. So I'm expecting price to move into that particular zone. Then when we start seeing a drop, I'll look for corrective move and start selling this particular and what really supports this scenario I'm looking at is, if you look at, there is a divergence in this particular between this top and this particular top, telling you that the buyers are losing momentum. So you should, it is a guideline. It's not sometimes it does not happen, but most of the time it does happen. When you start seeing big divergences like this, it's telling you there are warning signs that watch out for a possible pullback or a reversal. So this is how we are going to trade this. We are going to wait for price to get into this zone. Once we get any sharp impulsive move, we will start looking for the correction and sell this particular setup for this week. With the indices, let's look at Nasdaq. This is what I'm looking at for Nasdaq. I'm looking at an impulsive wave. So we've had a blue wave 1, 2, 3, 4. Then now I'm looking at wave 5 for blue wave 5, and I'm seeing a wave 1, 2, 3. Then this whole structure, I'm looking at it for as a triangle for wave 4, and A, B, C, D, E. Then I'm expecting an impulsive move up for green wave 5 or blue wave 5. So let's jump straight into the lower time frame and see how we are going to trade it this particular week. So now on the lower time frame, we are seeing a wave 1, 2, 3. So I'm seeing this whole pattern as a possible expanding flat forming, so price getting lower, then we start looking for another move up for wave 5. So if that is the case, I'm looking at an expanding flat like this. So if we should get a move lower, then I'm going to start looking for moves up. Then once I get a correction, I'll start looking for this particular setup for white wave 5 of this green waves, white wave 5 of green wave 5 to conclude the impulsive wave. Then I'm going to start looking for a corrective move downwards like this. So now this is what we are going to trade, tracking it one bit at a time. I'm going to give you updates on this guy. So let's jump straight into Bitcoin. So with this Bitcoin's analysis for last week has not changed. There's not been any big moves for price movement for Bitcoin last week. So once price is in this sideways of inside this channel, I'm really on the sideways, but what I'm expecting now is a WX. So I'm interested in price moving to this particular zone for blue wave B. Then we'll complete a 3-wave pattern for wave B. Then I'm going to expect more downward move. So once price is in this particular channel, I'm not trading it, and I'm expecting it to, if we get any move out and break this corrective channel, then once we get into this particular support and resistance zone for blue wave B, I'll start looking for sell setups. The last coin we'll be looking at is Dogecoin. With Dogecoin, this is what I'm looking at of a possible WXY for wave 4, and without XY we are having an ABC with wave B being a triangle of an ABCDE. Then now I'm looking at this particular, but this trend line has been very strong to add as resistance. So what I'm looking now is, I'm only interested in going long when we break out of this particular trend line, because once price is below the trend line, it can keep on pushing down and even break this particular low. But if you look at this end and the MACD, there is a very potential divergence that will play out even if it should break the low. So it's telling you that the sellers are losing momentum. So now this particular week, if we should have any breakout from this particular trend line, I'm going to look for correction. Then I'm going to start buying this particular one. So as long as we stay below the trend line, I'm not entering any trade out of it. So guys, that is all for this week. If you have pairs that I did not really cover, let me know in the comment sections, and do like and invite others to the group. So see you again tomorrow.